So Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 3 just dropped, and I bet you didn't even know it came out. Maybe some of you knew about it, but I'd guarantee a lot of you didn't, simply due to how Warner Brothers puts in zero effort when marketing DC animated movies. Drop a trailer a few months before release, then call it a day. Not only is this the final part of the Crisis trilogy, but also the last entry in the TomorrowVerse, and the final piece of the DC animated movie universe puzzle. I mean, the film was okay, wasn't awful I guess. Definitely better than Part 2, which was just a giant flashback and exposition dump fest. This mediocre universe has finally come to an end. I am no longer bounded by sheer mediocrity and subpar writing.
I finally rest and watch the sunrise on a grateful universe.
It may have had potential, but it's odd to see a universe slowly establish world building with solo movies with some of its characters, thinking it'll gradually expand the universe like the DCAMU or any other universe for that matter, but only 7 or so movies in that are like, okay, crisis event, the entire multiverse is at stake, and it's the culmination of a universe that only lasted like 4 years. The TomorrowVerse is honestly hit or miss. I'd say I like only half of the films, while the rest are just middle of the road. They high-key butchered the Green Lantern Corps mythos and Hal Jordan. Wonder Woman wasn't a founding member of the Justice League. There honestly was no proper Justice League team-up movie before Crisis, so we never got the time to actually get attached or learn more about this roster. But the reason I say this is the true ending to the DC animated movie universe is because the actual previous DCAMU, you know, the one inspired by the New 52, started with Flashpoint Paradox, included entries like Justice League War, Son of Batman, ended with Justice League Dark Apocalypse War, you know that universe. The TomorrowVerse is directly connected with that previous animated universe, and the events of Apocalypse War are responsible for the creation of this new universe. I've talked about it in a couple of other videos, but in short, the last entry in the DCAMU, that being Apocalypse War, had the entire DC universe hoed by Darkseid and Apocalypse thanks to Superman's plan in wanting to barge into Apocalypse and take out Darkseid before he steps foot back on Earth. What he failed to realize was Darkseid was spying on them via Cyborg since he was infused with a mother box. Darkseid knew every part of their plan and planned accordingly. Half of the heroes were either killed or brainwashed thanks to the army of parademons that were also infused with Doomsday, so they all got murked. By the end of the film, Batman states how the Earth's magma core was cooked beyond repair, so Constantine tells Barry Allen to go back in time and create another Flashpoint. After this, Constantine was confronted by the Spectre and he was like, hey yo, the universe doesn't like it when you try to bend its rules, and it will punish you for it. Jumping to the TomorrowVerse, Constantine lost all his memories for God knows how many years and was seen sporadically throughout the TomorrowVerse as this old man crying about the end of the world. It was strongly hinted at that Constantine's scene in Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 2 was the same one from the DCAMU, but the explanation in Part 3 just confirmed it to be true.
The world will end in a flash of light, and you'll be gone. You'll all be gone, just like the others.
That's my name. I've been trying to think of it for 100 years, a long time. I used to be one of the most powerful sorcerers on Earth. Name of John Constantine. Ta-da! I haven't had a ciggy in, I reckon, 1,000 years.
And in Part 3, Batman calls out for the help of Dr. Fate to help access John Constantine's lost memories, as they believe the key into stopping the Anti-Monitor and the impending crisis is to look for answers that date back before the creation of the multiverse. Y'all remember the killing baby Thanos joke from Endgame?
If we can do this, why don't we just find baby Thanos, and...
Well, Constantine actually wanted to try that with Darkseid. He used a guided spell on Barry so that he traveled back in time with the sole purpose of killing Darkseid as an infant. As expected, Barry didn't have it in him to do such a thing, but him solely being there was already causing some problems. They were trying to alter a fixed point in time, which is Darkseid just existing.
What am I seeing?
I'd forgotten. Earth had been invaded. Bastard named Darkseid.
Never heard of him. You sent him to rewrite history. What gave you the right?
Welcome to Apocalypse, Bats.
The only way to stop Darkseid was to eliminate him before the invasion.
He's a fixed point in time. He must exist.
Barry won't do it. It's not in him.
Don't you think I knew that? The spell, darkest of magic.
He's living poison.
He doesn't have to do anything to the little monster. He's already done it.
Darkseid is the one multiversal constant in any universe. His sheer existence is an inevitability that can't really be altered, and trying to alter that caused the universe to shatter, creating multiple universes, or the multiverse as we know it. But the multiverse isn't supposed to exist. The universe can't support infinite versions of different realities, so the emergence of like 10,000 or so anti-monitors act as sort of an antibody to destroy said universes, not necessarily as an act of evil.
This man is from an Earth that existed before our multiverse, decimated by Darkseid. He was a fixed point in time.
And didn't change the universe, it shattered it.
Every critical decision created a new possible reality.
The multiverse is expanding geometrically.
Infinite Earths.
The universe wasn't designed to support infinite variations of itself.
Before their entire timeline got erased, apparently the Legion of Superheroes had this device called the Miracle Machine that was actually capable of making miracles and performing whatever you could think of. Due to its dangerous nature, they hid it in a pocket dimension in between realities, so Nightshade travels to said dimension, brings the machine back to their home base, and Constantine comes up with the idea of using it to create one singular universe that combines the different versions of the heroes across the multiverse into one. So basically the outcome is identical to that of the Crisis on Infinite Earths comic event in the CW version, where some of the Earths are just mixed into a singular Earth, and the TomorrowVerse version would be similar to the comics, where it would be a brand new history and continuity as a whole.
We use this beauty to create one reality.
The various versions of us would be fused into a single prime version. None of us would remember any of this.
But before they use the machine, a bunch of Earths get wiped out in the process, and this is where we get some cameos. It's not a lot, but I hope you had no childhood attachments to any of these universes, because they get wiped out instantly. You like the Super Friends? Well, too bad. But on the bright side, we got one sick-ass line delivery with Kevin Conroy as Batman.
I care, Joker, about Gotham, about justice. If it has to end, at least I go out like this, being Batman.
That's what I'm talking about! That's why he's the MVP! That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
That was one of the toughest lines in the history of anything. This movie was okay, but that line delivery was spectacular. 10 out of 10 masterpiece, my nigga. That was so cold, oh my lord. It was a little odd seeing them kill off a variation of the DCAU with the animated series design for Batman and Joker, but the Justice League Unlimited designs for the actual Justice League members. Mark Hamill was credited as the Joker from Earth 12, or the DCAU adjacent version, as Troy Baker voices the main Joker from the TomorrowVerse films. But am I tweaking, or did he sound absolutely nothing like Mark Hamill's Joker?
The end of the world, and you want to spend it with me? I didn't know you cared.
Who the fuck is this?
Oh snap, we about to see the Teen Titans, and nope, and they're gone. Yep. Alright, cool. God damn it, are you trying to destroy my childhood dreams or something? Been obsessing over these specific versions since childhood.
What more do you want from me? Oh!
It should have been the Teen Titans Go version if I'm being real. Now obviously these aren't the actual DCAU or Teen Titans Earths being destroyed because shows like Batman Beyond exist. I like to think of it as DCAU adjacent, very similar but not the exact version, since it would make no sense otherwise. Kind of like in Spider-Man No Way Home, because I find it hard to believe that those are the exact same villains from the Maguire and Garfield movies, as the timelines don't really match up, but probably from universes nearly identical. Personally, I feel like the ending of the movie could have been better or a little more triumphant, I guess. They use a lot of effort just to defeat one anti-monitor, only to find out that there's 10,000 more anti-monitors out there. So they just use some plot device machine to fix everything. And it kind of begs the question, why didn't they think to use the Miracle Machine beforehand, especially if Kara was still around? The only reason they think to use it is because Batgirl talks about how Supergirl told her about the existence of the Miracle Machine a while ago, since Supergirl had spent so much time with the Legion of Superheroes. And there's an 8-month time jump between the end of part 2 and the very beginning of part 3. So you mean to tell me for those 8 months neither Batgirl or Supergirl brought it up or said anything? I'm not saying it should have been like the third act of Avengers Endgame or something where everyone fights the anti-monitor at once, but I mean at least something with a little bit more oomph to really satisfy the grand finale bit. It left a lot to be desired with how this whole trilogy played out, because I feel as if they didn't take advantage of the fact that they have the entire DC multiverse at their disposal. None of the Earths really felt that that different from one another. They all just look the same minus the brief cameos at the end of part 3. Lots of stuff from part 2 could have been cut, could have just been 2 parts instead of 3 if you just get to the nitty gritty. Like, get rid of the drawn out scenes of heroes fighting a bunch of dinosaurs longer than needed. Due to the TomorrowVerse's underdeveloped nature, a couple of the sacrifices made just didn't hit as hard, kind of like Supergirl's death. They recreate the cover of Crisis on Infinite Earths issue 7 where Superman is holding Supergirl's body, and it's the cover for the part 3 film, and they play all this sad music and Superman's crying and all the heroes and villains are standing in silence, and personally I didn't feel a goddamn thing. I'm over here like,
oh no. Anyway, last week,
I mean, we knew it was happening because it's the cover of the movie, but also we didn't spend enough time with this Supergirl to feel a strong attachment. She had one movie before this trilogy titled Legion of Superheroes. It's not really about the Legion all that much, it's pretty much just her movie, that's it. Then a year or so after the movie comes out, next thing you know, she's absorbing the energy of 52 suns and disperses said energy to defeat one of the anti-monitors before a bunch more come out to wreak havoc. Also, they fumbled the design of the anti-monitor. He just looks like some black alien android, no sauce on sight. Bro, the CW had a better anti-monitor design. It may not be great, but at least you can tell who it is at first glance. I'm just glad this universe is over. It felt like this event was sort of limited by budget, as it wasn't as grand or impactful as it could have been. There are several characters from the Crisis Event comic that aren't present, or their roles are severely diminished, which could have made up for the runtime instead of just spending time on flashbacks on the origin of Psycho Pirate. I'm not saying it's better, but in all honesty, the Arrowverse Crisis had a much better build up to the actual event, since the seeds were planted throughout the entirety of Arrow's final season, and in some cases season 6 of The Flash, but both versions have their fair share of problems. I just hope going forward DC animation can actually have sauce again and not be hindered by the interconnectedness of it all, and give bigger budgets for these movies. They are looking cheaper with every new entry. I was watching the trailer for the new Watchmen animated movie coming out, and I was confused at first because I thought I was looking at an episode of Marvel Studios' What If. Please, no more DC animated movie universes, just have future movies be their own thing. And if there is a DC animated film connected to a larger universe, it's probably going to be James Gunn's universe, as he plans to have a continuity shared across live action and animation. Just take me back to the good old days of standalone DC animated movies. That's all I ask for.